There was a debate this past General Assembly session about taxpayer-funded abortion. And the bill, I voted against the bill. I argued against the bill. The bill passed. But during that debate, the language of that bill, when the Senate version came back to the House, the word woman was removed from the bill and it was referred to person, a person wanting to get an abortion. Now, we know that there's no such thing as a person getting an abortion. It's a woman's bill. So Charlene Lima put in an amendment to change the word from person back to woman. And we had an argument, and I made a very cogent argument because it was right after Mother's Day. And I said, if you went and wished your mother a happy Mother's Day, but you're going to vote against this, you're a fraud. Well, guess what? It went down with only 13 votes in favor. But afterwards, Mike, here's the
so 62 reps voted not to use the term woman.
Correct. Now, here's the important part, and it goes back to what Laurie was saying previously. Many members came up to me afterward and said, John, I agree with everything you said in your argument. You were great. You made a great argument. And I said, well, then how come you didn't vote for it on the amendment? How come you didn't argue against it? Well, I can't do that, John. I'm a Democrat. Okay.
All right. Yeah, but polls show this is a political winner. 75% of Americans across all philosophies agree with the reality, the common sense view on this, Laurie. But yet people, lawmakers, many parents who are afraid think that they're in the minority if they speak out. How do we capitalize on the fact that most people agree with everything we're saying, but yet are afraid to act upon it? Do you have any ideas, Laurie?
Well, again, it goes back to that spiral of silence, right? You've got to speak up. You've got to be counted. And if you are, a constituent of Rep. Brien, you can thank him for having some common sense and standing up for you. And if you can encourage your own representative or your own senator and give them the courage to stand up for you. And I think not enough people are actually engaging as constituents with their own elected officials. I see that over and over. And, it makes me sick. It makes me sick that somebody who has brass enough to go knock on however many thousands of doors and say, please vote for me, I'll represent you. And then knows that this is not popular, would still put re-election over the people that they claim to want to represent. It's just unfathomable, really.
Here's my contention. Tell me if you agree or disagree. And not everybody agrees with me on this, but it's my firm belief. We have not seen this issue ever become a major campaign issue. We have not seen any statewide elected official make it a priority, make it a debatable topic with their opponent. We have not seen anyone for federal or statewide office. We've had some people say, hey, I support parental rights or whatever, but I'm talking about making this a central part of a campaign, because what we do know from the parents we've interviewed, like Laurie and Bob Tiaradillo and other parents we've had on, there's still a lot of people out there don't know what's going on in the schools, whether it comes to the critical race theory teaching of the pornography, if you would, the sexually explicit material in schools and this transgender stuff, that if it becomes more broadly debatable, whether it's in a campaign or outside a campaign, and more people get educated, then the more likely it is to turn into a political winner. So my question to you, Representative Brien, as an elected official who is concerned about getting reelected, does this issue need to occupy a higher profile when it comes to legislative and campaign debates?
I think yes. Obviously, Mike, I agree with you. I think it's certainly in the campaigns. Legislatively, because of what I just described to you, I don't know how far it will go until you get a change. I would like to see more independent candidates. I would like to see less progressives elected. I would like to see more common sense. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. Just have common sense and put people and good policy over party. And that's not a lot of what you see right now. In campaigns, it's easy. And I want to correct you on something. You said something earlier, said, you want to get reelected. Sure, I do. I mean, I want to go back to the General Assembly and keep having this fight, because you have to have someone that's willing to say it. But am I willing to not say this to get reelected? Absolutely not. It's not worth it to me. I'd rather go down swinging. The point is that get people, when they come to your door and say, oh, please vote for me, I'm John Smith or I'm Jane Smith, say, should males be in female bathrooms, locker rooms? Should males compete in female sports? Do you believe that? And, I had an argument with someone that's very liberal from the city of Woonsocket. And then I just decided to never talk with them ever again. Because during the course of an argument, they said to me, John, some women have penises. And I said, you are done. I'm not talking to you ever again. You have sealed your fate. You are beyond reach. If you really believe that, you are gone. And there's no sense in even speaking with you. Yeah. Get people to answer that question. Ask a candidate, can a woman have a penis? And if they say yes, they're disqualified, and make sure everybody knows that they're disqualified.
Exactly my point. That's exactly so. Laurie's right that parents have to speak up more, but you're right that candidates and the media doesn't ask these questions either. The media won't ask these questions either.
We don't have a media in Rhode Island.
What's that? What's that, John?
I don't want to interrupt Rep. Brien. He's on a roll.
Go ahead, John. Finish up, Rep.
We don't have a media in Rhode Island. We don't have a media that asks real questions. We don't have
right here. You're on the show right here.
Right, but I'm saying outside of this, I'm saying print media in this state is dead. Real objective reporting in the state is dead. So really, you don't get people asking hard questions. Why? Because they'll be afraid that they'll be iced out of access rather than doing the job of reporting.
Laurie?
And they should be, because I made a big stink about this when Representative Patricia Morgan introduced a Parents' Bill of Rights to the House Education Committee. 8 out of the 15, before they even read the bill, before it was even introduced at committee, came out and said this bill will never become law because it's anti-transphobic. There wasn't a thing in there that referenced transgender anything. It merely talked about parents and giving them some support to, direct the health and safety and well-being of their children. And I can remember brown doctors coming in and saying, hey, we don't even want to bother with parental permission before we experiment with gender-affirming care on these kids because it's too troublesome, time-consuming, and administratively, undesirable. And nobody pushed back. And I can remember having a conversation with Speaker Shekarchi about this. And, to his credit, he was very good, and he allowed that bill to go to a different committee for a hearing. But until we get to the point in this state where parents aren't pushing back against the ridiculous dismissal of the democratic debate process to not even listen or hear a bill before it came to the floor, I agree with Rep. Brien. Like we've got to do something, right? We have to do something a little bit different. So what's it going to take?